Okay, my cute little cookies. Today we are doing an advancement in plyometric training. So technically it's mostly jumps, so I'm kind of preparing myself to do more jumping essentially, or actual plyometrics. So plyometric and jumping training, slightly different. Mostly it's the intensity or how powerful you're being in plyometric. Plyometric is speed is number one. Thing we always say with speed training, plyometric training, when it's supposed to be for the purpose of speed, if you're slowing down, stop. It's the best way to really gauge and how hard you should be doing the intensity. So today I'm just going to be practicing a lot of jumps. So I'm going to be doing my skill work again, my A skips, some B skips maybe, some C skips possibly, and then we will move on to some jumping, and then we'll do some upper body work. So upper body work with the intention of being an athlete, and some of my favorite low equipment upper body work that I think that you can benefit from hugely, that doesn't require a huge amount of fatigue and that is very useful for full range of motion strength. Okay, real quick update on the body. Wrist getting a huge amount better, except the day after jiu-jitsu. Every day after jiu-jitsu it's very inflamed, which is fair enough. That's my own fault. Not a big deal. It seems to die down again the day after. I do ice it a bit. It's definitely trending in the right direction. Hugely improved, thankfully. So that's great. I went to the track last Wednesday, myself and Dara. I just put on some spikes, and I've never worn spikes on a track. We used to wear studs for Gaelic football and stuff, for pitch sports, but spikes are different. And I just did a couple of 40s, little warm up, practice the 3-point start. The track is a university track. It's actually quite busy. There was an underage camogie team there, or field, similar to field hockey kind of. It was field hockey, it wasn't camogie. And obviously we didn't want to be videoing that much, so I don't really have any footage. Feels kind of weird a little bit videoing that when there's other people around, there's other people running and stuff, who they wouldn't mind, but it's a bit weird with the underage team. So to be honest, you didn't miss that much. I would have liked to video more, but obviously priorities got to stay right. So there'll be plenty more track sessions, and Dara will be there with them as well. So let's start off with the running skill work, which is a good warm up for the jumping, and then we'll move on to the upper body stuff. So I'm just going to move through these and we'll talk. A lot of times people have actually an issue with kind of figuring out what to do with their assistance work. And I think it's so simple when you're an athlete. It doesn't really matter what you're doing. If you're looking for upper body hypertrophy, supersets are great, time efficient, keep you honest. You get a little bit more intensity into them. And I think it's a more just occupying way in the gym for athletes. If you're doing low intensity, non-high mental load exercises, I think supersets keep you a little bit more entertained. You know, bodybuilders will love one set of something. They'll do a set of preacher curls and that's all they'll be thinking about, and they'll love it, and they'll pose in between sets. And I'm not taking the piss here, but for athletes, if you go do a set of snatch grip barbell rows at 30 kilos, you're like, just single sets, you're like, fuck, this is pretty boring, and then you end up scrolling on your phone for 5 minutes. So what I think best way to think about this is, if you're coming in for upper body hypertrophy work, start with a couplet or superset. Superset's better. A little bit Dan Mazzetti. Horizontal push and horizontal pull, or vertical push, vertical pull. Today we're going to do snatch grip rows with a barbell and deficit push-ups. Now you can kind of do any variation of those. You could do supinated rows, overhand rows, you could do dumbbell rows if you wanted to. I really like snatch grip rows for one reason, and that is for most athletes, when we're trying to feel the contraction at the top, and we really want to feel it in this fully extended position, I think it's fantastic. Deficit push-ups, full range of motion. Extensors again, rugby players, American football players, judo athletes, who doesn't need stronger upper body and stronger arms? So I think this is a fantastic variation. So I'm just going to work through these sets. So I got my blue belt in jiu-jitsu. So last Monday, basically 2 years to the month. So 300 kilos into a blue belt in the same month, December. So it's not a bad month for athletic achievements. Whew. So we had the 12 rolls of Christmas last night, but they were 10-minute rounds. We normally do 5-minute rounds. And I arrived late, so I didn't realize we were doing 10 minutes, and I was going on the purple belts. And we were like throwing each other and sweeping. And after like 5 minutes, I was like, oh fuck, we're still going. So I can feel it on the push-ups today, so I won't be weighting them. So in terms of those jumps you saw there, so mostly skill work. If you're not running, you don't need to do the initial stuff. You can do it if you want. It's a nice warm-up, but it's not necessary. You could just do 10 minutes of cardio. Then the jumping, long jumps, I always prefer if we can jump onto a soft surface, unless we're doing depth jumps. So one of the great things about plyometrics is overloading the eccentric. So that's why depth jumps are super useful, because those ground reactive forces are loading up the eccentric of the jump, and then overcoming that eccentric activates that stretch shortening cycle, which is one of the benefits of that. Now it can be activated in different ways, like those long jumps. That overloading eccentric, however, is one of the more damaging parts when it comes to plyometrics. It's obviously higher eccentric loads, higher ground reactive forces, so that does put more pressure on soft tissue. It does put more pressure on the joints. When the Soviets and Vrsansky discovered the depth jump, or rather popularized the depth jump and the usefulness of it, they called it the shock method. When they use it with their weightlifters, for example, they use it only in several week increments each year and didn't do it all year round, because of how hard fatiguing it is on the CNS, how hard it is on the joints and the soft tissue. So it's one of the things that the overloading eccentric is so valuable, but it is also very fatiguing. And those long jumps onto soft surface, those padding, is very, 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 very useful. Get lots of volume in without breaking it down. Okay, let me do another set. So I do like to let the thoracic round a little bit, or the upper back round on the barbell rows and the snatch grip. But in general, most rows, it's very useful for mobility. Lats, thoracic, shoulders do really appreciate that full range of motion, especially under relatively light loads and a controlled manner. It is very, very, very useful. And you, of course, get some more full range of motion on them, so I do like that. Generally, on my upper body sessions, I really like basically 2 push or 2 pull. You know, it's not exact. Might throw in shoulder raises or rear delt flies as extra on them, depending how I'm feeling. And you know, trying to sculpt sexy little upper body, and yeah, really enjoying training at the moment. So pretty happy with the blue belt. Our coach is notoriously tough on belt promotions. He will leave you a white belt if he still thinks you're a white belt. You know, attendance plays a role, but also quality. He leave if you're not consistent. He will leave you for years. So it is, you know, a way of ensuring quality for the belt when you get it, so you can be happier knowing when you got it, you know. So jiu-jitsu is good. Work capacity is great at the moment, and it will improve as I get leaner. So all around it's good. I was able to do some back squats on Thursday without the safety bar. Getting kind of sick of that, to be honest, and it felt great. So like I was saying, the wrist feels a lot better, but the hamstring was just aggravated a little bit from the track session, mostly at the insertion near the glute, and it was kind of cramping after the session on Wednesday in track, and then the next day it was twice as better. Yesterday it was twice as better again. Now today it's just 10% of what it was, so no biggie. When you're running, as many of you know, it's not will I hurt my hamstrings, it's when will I hurt my hamstrings. Okay, let me do another set. Gonna up the weight on the rows, and then I'm gonna add some weight to the deficit push-ups. And someone had a great idea. They put the weights through the band, something I'd kind of forgotten about, and it is a very good idea, so thanks for whoever reminded me, and I'll up the weight a bit on these rows. Okay, got some impromptu visitors. One of the sets of grandparents is stealing the grandchild, so going to use some free time. I love spending time with my son, but it's wrong to waste it, so we're going to speed this up. So I'm going to do shoulder raises, barbell rows, and these really cool tricep extensions I got from Dr. Steph.